Uh, you were on well, you had Jeff Jackson, I think 3 or 4 years at Notre Dame, and then of course you were on his staff for the last couple. What are some of the biggest hockey lessons, life lessons you learned being around Coach Jackson?
Yeah, no, he coached me for 3 of the 4 years here. So like as a player, there was a noticeable difference in just how like organized, detailed, you know, structured and like demanding he was as a coach, which I thought translated to the turnaround pretty quick. I was a part of the worst team in Notre Dame history as a freshman, and still to this day part of the best record in Notre Dame history with a 32 win season, I think, like our junior year, and then almost got it done there in the Frozen Four as a senior. So I think that's like from a hockey side, the biggest thing. From like a personal side, like he put everything into hockey, so I think that's really unique. Like it was the most important thing in his life. And it wasn't just hockey. It was the players. It was my teammates. It was everything about the university. So trying to, moving forward, just continue to uphold that legacy that he has, and the foundation that he set for Notre Dame, and then elevate this program to a level that I think that we're capable of getting to.
Very kind words for Coach Jackson. I'm just wondering, it's your team now. Did you guys go through any special team building kind of exercises to start the season or early in training camp?
No, like they're here in the summer, so they're together a lot, and I do find those type of things. I've been through a lot of them to be like, I don't know, like fleeting. They don't really, I don't think, do a ton for a team. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the biggest thing that we've been focusing on is just like the day-to-day interactions with our players. Like my staff is down in our player area all the time, eating lunch there, hanging out. We had, a lot of whatever family barbecues, like get-togethers where like they got to see our staff and actually get to know us as people. And I think that stuff goes a long way. I think the biggest thing is just having genuine relationships with our players, and then our guys are together all the time. So they're a tight group, and there's been a lot of new thrown at them. So they're figuring it out. But I think it's been a lot of fun so far.
Speaking of new, talk about the special teams if we can. Penalty kill, I think, has been pretty good thus far.
Mhm.
I want to say you've killed 10 of 11. Not exactly sure where the power play stands, but can you just talk about your team's special teams right now?
Yeah, yeah. I think penalty kill's been challenged because we've been in the box a ton, like 5 minute major, and then whatever, 11 or 12 penalties to kill on top of that, which is not ideal. Mike Garman, one of my associate coaches, is running the penalty kill. It's very that's one area that is similar because I ran the penalty kill before. So
Right.
there's a lot of guys that have uh, done the system that he's running essentially, and then some of the guys that we've brought in that are new to it have ran that type of system before. The power play, like again, I don't know what the number is. I don't look at it. I mean, we scored two power play or a power play goal each game. Would have liked to have scored more against Arizona State because we actually generated more. The Quinnipiac game is just not a great game overall in general. So a lot of our power plays in the Quinnipiac game showed up when the game was over.
Um, like I said, I haven't seen the games. You mentioned the two you've played. I did notice that Jura 7, Master Domenico, I think -4 or -5, respectively. Not that that is always indicative of how you're playing, but were they a victim of circumstance, or are they, is there maybe a message being sent to them?
We don't watch. I don't look at that stat. That stat is pretty useless. We sorry, I'm not trying to be like it's actually has no bearing on anything from an analytical standpoint. There just happen to be on the ice. I do expect Mastro as one of our captains and one of our more solid defending players. When we look at our underlying numbers, like we have our own expected goals model that we use. Um, and I'd like him to not be as much of a swing player. It's something we've talked about. He generated a lot offensively, but gave up a lot on the defensive side. I think he has the potential to play beyond here to be a pro. with just his body. He's still really young. He's a 2004. He's a true freshman, or was a true freshman. And he had showed maturity in his game. I think as last year went on, and I expect him to get there. And then Jimmy was literally like just circumstance, I would say. I guess I didn't even know he was -4.
Yeah.
And he, as a sophomore, 6'5", the kid that's getting stronger and really sees the game at a high level. We expect him to continue to progress in his game.
All right, this is great. And just last one for me. You grew up in Lethbridge, I think, and I know you were born in Lethbridge. The Lethbridge Broncos must have been knocking on your door throughout your, early career. What made you decide to choose the college route?
Yeah, I was born in London, Ontario, but we moved. My whole family's from Ontario for the most part, but we moved when I was like 7, 8 years old to Alberta, and Lethbridge is my hometown, and Western League, WHL hockey was always the thing. College, especially when I was growing up. The Lethbridge Hurricanes are the Western League team there. The Broncos, they were the Broncos, and then they moved to Swift Current, and then Lethbridge, the Hurricanes came in. But when I was 19 years old, they offered me my 19-year-old and 20-year-old year to play there. But I was well down the road with 6 or 7 really quality Division I programs. Academics were always really important to me and my family. And then my grandfather played in the minors. He played as like a 14-year-old or something like that, 15-year-old. He got like a jacket from the Bruins, and they bought his family groceries. It was before the draft, and like they got his rights. And he played in Providence, Hershey, and he had to go back to school when he was done playing pro. And he had all these guys that he grew up with playing pro, like, and even in the NHL back then, that just when hockey was done, life was hard for them, and they didn't make a ton of money back then. And so for him, education was always important, and he was a huge mentor in my life. And it was something he was like, you can make the NHL from NCAA if you want, but it's hard to make it. It's hard to make it as a pro, and you can set yourself up, if you take care of yourself. And that was kind of why we'd always looked at that path.
Brock, this is great stuff. Look forward to talking with you this year, and all the best of luck. I'll pass it over to Tony Simeone if Tony's on.
Yep, Tony.
Here. Yeah, Coach. I've bothered you with questions enough, but I'll just give you a few here. Something I'm curious about is, and maybe I'm sure you guys have a metric that you're tracking, but like shots on goal were way up last year, 38 in each of the first 2 games. Like, how do you evaluate, I guess, whether you guys track scoring chances, and do you want that number down, and how do you get that down going forward?
Yeah. Well, the games were crazy this weekend. We each had 50 shots for the first game, and I think like 38 against, and then we gave up, I think, 38.
Yeah.
We're in the 20s, high 20s or something like that. Yeah, we don't want to give up that many shots. Honestly, if you look at every team I've ever coached, we get outshot usually. I was just shocked that we had 50 shots. Most of my teams, like the Chicago Steel teams, that were really good, even in the American League, and we would win most of those games because we were more of a shot quality, not quantity type team. And then within our structure, the way that we defend, especially on the penalty kill, like we'll give up more shots on the penalty kill than most teams. It's something that frustrated Coach Jackson the last couple of years when I was running the kill. But we know the point of the way the kill is to give up a certain type of shot that is very low quality and leads to very low quality rebounds and allows us to get into pressure. So I'm not that concerned about shot totals. Like, it's a big thing that a lot of people are concerned about. I'm concerned about our expected goal model that we track internally. That is something that myself and Mike Garman have used since we were with the Chicago Steel, that now every NHL team uses, but we did a version of this years ago before anybody was doing it. Sport Logic has their version. All these places, most NHL teams have their version, and we're trying to give up low quality, not worried about the shots, so low quality chances and generate the highest quality chances for. And if you look at our weekend, Friday was a very winnable game. It was like a coin flip type game. The expected goals were very even, which a lot of college hockey is, and Saturday was not what we're looking for.
Sure. Yeah. You kind of led me to a question I had, and it folds into what you're talking about with the way you guys played in Chicago. Just, what do you hope the identity of this team will be? And then when it comes to that, does that have to come from the staff? Like you set the way you're going to play and then they follow suit? Or do you have to kind of let the players determine what the identity will be, look at your personnel, and then maybe mold the identity through that?
No, I think we're going to play the style of play that we're going to coach, right? So if we're going to coach an aggressive style, or our players will play aggressive. If we're going to tell our players to be aggressive, and then when something goes wrong, that we can't do that anymore, then you're going to be a passive team and they're going to be guessing, right? So like I feel like for us, we're a puck pressure team. We want the puck out of the opponent's hands, and I think you'll see that when you watch us play. From an offensive standpoint, we want to play fast and transition, but then we don't want to get rid of the puck. If we're not just going to, whip pucks from below the goal line or shoot from all over the place. We're going to make purposeful, intentional plays and try to generate the highest level chance and be on the attack as much as possible. So, I think that we've seen parts of that show up in our game, and counting the exhibition game, the 3 games we've played. It is it's an adjustment for our guys, I would say. And
sure.
So it's literally different for every single player on the roster, not just the 10 guys that are here new. They're not just the 10 new players,
I was curious about Sutter and just what he brings to the team. Obviously, the 2 goals in the loss against Quinnipiac, but I guess big picture, just an older guy or a more veteran guy coming in. What's his impact been? And then maybe big picture, just your approach to the portal and grad transfers and kind of the ever-changing landscape in college hockey.
Yeah, well, Sutter is technically only a 4th year, right? Like he graduated early. And he didn't play. He played like 10 games last year. I think 8 of them he played severely hurt, which is why he wasn't able to finish the year with the surgery that he had to have. But for him specifically, knock on wood, he's healthy. He's a 6'6", 240-pound centerman that can skate and is smart.
Yeah,
it's really exciting. I actually I worked with his dad in Carolina. I worked with Carolina, so I know the family. They're great people. He's an unbelievable human, and I think he has the potential to play at the highest level, because he's not only is he that physical stature, he understands the game. He is one guy that has picked up our style of play pretty quick, which has been nice to see. And then from a portal standpoint, we had no one go in the portal, which was one of 3 or 4 teams in the country, which is a real positive, I think. It speaks to the culture of the university and our program. And then, from us, like bringing in guys from the portal, it's not, I think you've heard other coaches at Notre Dame say this. It's not like the whole portal is our oyster. Like there's only certain, there's fits, but like, I like what we did. The 2 positional players, not like Luke Pearson's a goalie, in Evan Werner and Sutter Mazzotti are proven college players. We expect them to be drivers for us, play in all situations. Sutter's playing power play, 5-on-5 on an important line and PK. And then, we expect Evan to be on our top power play unit and play on our top line. So like those guys are important for us. We'll be selective there always, I think.
Yeah. Then just on his eligibility with the short few games he played, is this his last year, or does he have?
No, he has 2 years.
He has 2 years. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
That's last thing, I guess, is just about St. Lawrence. And obviously it's early in the year, but what have you had to kind of work and rep to get ready for them? What stands out?
Yeah. Honestly, like you'll hear this from me throughout the year. Like, doesn't matter who we're playing. We're focused on us here. I think that's something that is a change for our group. Like that is how I've coached. That's what we will do. We'll watch film on us all week. We'll prepare to be better in our game and force teams to play our game. That's the way. And obviously, like we scout the opponent and we know what they're doing. Our players will have that information, but it's honestly about us and our game and can we improve from where we've like we know where we're at after, two quality opponents last weekend, and St. Lawrence is a quality opponent. Every single team in college hockey has Division I hockey players and guys that can play at this level. Doesn't matter the league. It doesn't matter the name of the school, and the landscape has changed so much. I think that everybody has seen, I don't know if you've looked at the scores, like if you looked at last Friday, everybody expected, the 5 home teams to win their games that were hosting, and they all lost. Yeah. So I think that people that are fans of college hockey, they should be excited. Like this is going to be the best players ever playing college hockey in the next couple of years. Everybody's available. And I think that it's changed the game in a great way. And I'm excited to see, where we're at this weekend against a really good St. Lawrence team.
Great, Coach. I'll pass it off, but thanks a bunch, and looking forward to watching you guys this weekend.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thanks, Tony. John, I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, Brock, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the players last weekend, the positives that you got. Obviously the negatives, you don't want to be in the penalty box as much as you were.
Yeah.
But what were some positive things that you took from last weekend?
Well, the positive, a lot of it comes from Friday, honestly. Like Friday, I thought, other than making a couple errors and say like a line change that led to a breakaway, or, a couple penalties back to back to back, which I think really hurt us. Like we came back in that game and, like I said, generated enough to win that game. It's a coin flip hockey game against a really quality team that's going to do some damage in the NCHC and is, projected to be a tournament type team or whatever, if that's the type of stuff that you're looking at. But that to me, like our actual system play was, and like team style of play structure wasn't bad. For me, it was instances and like way too many one-off instances and small habits and details that are just not habits yet. And we're not that detailed in yet. Right. So like that's whether that's like stick detail, body position, playing above men, not getting on the wrong side, like our tracking, like things like that, like little things, not like our hard structure, that led to us giving up way too high a quality of chances and especially on Saturday, and putting way too much pressure on Nick.
Talk a little bit about, you said putting way too much pressure on Nick. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from Nick so far this season. I know it was probably not what he wanted last weekend, but there were some instances where he made some pretty good plays and such.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. You can go around and ask anyone. He is one of the most talented goalies, especially of his age in the country, right? People forget how young he is. I think he was the only true freshman goalie in the NCAA last year. I don't think people understand what that means at that position. So I think his room for growth is just greater than a lot of players at that position, right? Because he hasn't had the reps. Last year, he was limited in his reps. And I've seen a ton of growth in his maturity and his poise. And I think that, I know we're going to be patient with him. And I believe he's going to get to where he's capable of getting to, which is a type of kid that's going to play at the next level, right? That legitimately has that ability. Part of it for us is like, we got to do a better job in front of him, and that's specifically Saturday, like the quality that we gave up. There's goals that go in on him and that you can't even, that's why I kept him in, because he needs to keep playing. So I'm excited to see, he's had a great mindset. I think he's matured a lot as a kid and as a goalie, and he's had a great week of practice, and he's got an amazing coach in Mike Garman helping him. I think he's the best in the business. And yeah, I'm excited to see his progression throughout the year.
Final question for me. Talk a little bit about some of the newcomers, Femus, and some of those other guys, what you saw from them and what you saw from maybe some of the guys coming back and what they need to do to improve.
Yeah, like I think in the 3 games, looking at Pano, he's exactly what we're looking for. That's why we recruit him. He's high skilled. He generates offense. He works it. Like, some people have talked about maybe the difference between an OHL hockey game and an NCAA game as far as like tempo, physicality. When we were recruiting him, we saw like he has that innate compete and tempo to his game. So like he's adjusted well. I think Cole Brown is adjusting really well. Like that's something that he needs to continue to work on, is consistent physicality and engagement. Like that's what's gonna, get him to the NHL. He is smart. He offensively, he's going to help us. Pucks just didn't go in for him. I think Will Bell has adjusted better than I even imagined. As a big body, coming from the program, he's impressing me every day. So I've been really, really happy with those guys. And I think like a guy like Caden Carlisle, like his intensity and physicality is what we expected. He's just getting used to the level a little bit, and then the two transfers, I think like they are what we want them to be, right? Like they're going to help us offensively. And they've played a lot of college hockey. So, for guys coming back, like our core guys, I thought they looked good. It's just putting it all together is like, whether it's Danny Nelson, Cole Knuble, Paul Fisher, like those guys are going to drive the bus for us. Mastro Domenico, Axel Kumlin, like those, Nick Kempf, like those guys are going to drive it for us. Right. So, no, I'm excited to see their response. They've had a great training camp, and, I think for us, it's about getting used to how we actually want to play.
Thank you, Brock. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. We have a little less than 10 minutes. So Pete, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks. Brock, I hopped on a little late, so I apologize if this was already asked. But I'm just curious for you, particularly as an alum of this program, just kind of what it means to you to be able to take the bench this Thursday night. And I'm just curious what sort of emotions you might be feeling heading into the game.
Yeah, no, it's just so grateful, and it's a pride that it's hard to actually explain like how much Notre Dame and the program have meant to me personally and to my family. No, I think I have like for Friday night's game, like 80 tickets. So it's like, whether it's guys I played with and their families or, a lot of my family was out. It's easier for people from Alberta to come to ASU than to here. So, it means a lot. It is a responsibility that I don't take lightly, and I'm just excited to keep building, and, we know where we're at right now, and I'm excited to see where we can get to.
How can being on your home ice be good for these guys, do you think? You've got a stretch coming up for the next several weeks where they can kind of settle in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good being home around now for a lot of reasons. Like from a school standpoint, it's good to have some like time where we're home. I think that, it's just, it makes things a little bit easier in that regard. I like that we were on the road to start the year together, and it helps continue to bring guys even closer. But no, to get Compton rocking early will be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Tom, I'll open it up to you.
Hey, Coach, just a quick question. So you have Michigan coming up at the end of October, I guess. With these remaining 4 non-conference games, like what are you looking to learn about your team before you get into conference play?
Yeah, like I honestly, like you're gonna hear this from me a lot. Like it's just about the next day for us. Like how much can we add to our game? How consistent can we be in playing the way we want to play? Like it's so much to me not about who we're playing. I think that if you get into that game where it's like we got to play this style against this team or that style against that team, and like that's not what we're looking for. Like for me, it's about being consistent in our habits, our details, and our system and style of play. And that is all that I'm looking for. I'm looking for consistent improvement. Like when we're practice to practice, shift to shift, period to period, and just keep teaching our guys. Like that's how I coach. And that is the goal for today in practice and tomorrow against St. Lawrence. And then we'll do it again the next day.
Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Ryan, any questions?
Yes, just one for me, Coach. Just kind of circling back to what you've talked about with the style of play, and last weekend. I guess how did you see the team sort of embracing that identity, or maybe not in other aspects, in your first weekend of play?
Yeah, I think if, like both games, if you watch like the first 5 to 10 minutes, like you watch the first 10 minutes against Quinnipiac, it's actually like really good. The rest of the game is not so good. So we are capable of doing it. I do feel good about the training camp we've had. Like it's been a harder training camp. Like our fitness level, it needs to be higher to play this style of play. And like we have all the data, right? Like we know whatever, we're like 35% more fit than we were at this time last year. Like, like actually, like objectively, we know that, right? So the guys feel it, but it's still in moments when like there's actual stress doing it all the time, right? And like when things don't, at both those games, things didn't go our way early. And to me, that's where we got away from our process, right? So we take some penalties, whether they were deserved or not, like that doesn't matter. And that's when we got behind. I felt like, especially in the Quinnipiac game, we really got away from it. ASU, like we got it back and gave ourselves a chance. So that's a positive for us. And that's why we watch the film. That's why we teach, and our guys are into it. And I'm excited to see, what practice today looks like and how we start in our building, on Thursday.